Hey, what's up, everybody? So, second attempt here with this new microphone setup. Thanks for letting me know. There's a few of you guys who posted comments on the last video and just said, hey, the audio is only in the left channel. So, I'm trying to get it all sorted out today. Hopefully, this video will be cool. These headphones are a bit weird, but hopefully, it should be okay. All right, so let's jump into this. Trust the pain in your life. Trust the pain in your life. Look, we're we're going to be experiencing pain for a host of various reasons, but the primary reason I believe we experience suffering and pain, suffering is the greatest teacher, one of the greatest teachers we'll ever have in life. And suffering and pain is there to help guide us back on the right path. So, I'll give you a great example. This is a personal example from my own life. For the last 7 years, there's, I'm really big in continuous improvement. I believe that from the day we're born until the day we die, we can continuously be improving. A lot of people out there think, well, no, you're just going to wear out with age. Your body's going to wear out, your mind's going to get more worn out. I don't believe that at all. That's not how I see things at all. I think we get better with age. We can get better with age. We can get worse with age. Both are possible. It's just like a computer. You've got a computer, and with time, the more you save on that hard drive, the slower it's going to get. And it's the same with your mind. The more things we learn, the more things we remember, the more things we store, the more we have in our mind, the more we're going to be thinking about, the more information is stored in here. So it's super important, I believe, to remember things that are worth remembering. And that's going to be different for everyone. It depends on your work, your profession, your income. It's going to be different for everyone what those important things are. For me, I'll give you an example. Like, I'm not that interested in remembering people's names. So for me, that's one less thing that's being saved in my hard drive. And yeah, I'm sure there's people out there who'll be like, well, isn't it good for business? Isn't it good for relationships? Isn't it just courteous to remember people's names? Sure, I accept that argument. But for me, it's just something that I've chosen not to store. It's not important for me. I'm not going to spend time to try to memorize people's names and store it in my head. I would rather remember the face and have a great interaction, a great connection with that person. The name is not important to me. The person is very important to me. I will remember a lot of things that happen in the relationship. I will remember a lot of the things we talk about. The conversations are important to me. Why? Because I learn from the conversations. I learn from when I interact with people. A lot of people will remember your name, but they will forget, not pay attention to the conversations. They'll forget things, So a lot of people out there are focused more on what they can get out of people. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But there's two different ways. I believe a relationship should be sharing, should be two people sharing, strengthening each other, right? And it should be an exchange. It should be fair, I believe. One person will give, the other person gives back. That's a good relationship, in my opinion. It's when both people serve each other, they strengthen each other. It's not just in business and friends, but also relationships. A good relationship with your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or husband is one where both of you are serving each other. It's when one person isn't totally dependent on the other. It's when both people form a perfect triangle, or like a tent. They both lean on each other equally. Are you ever going to get a perfect triangle? I doubt it. I think that's unrealistic, but that's what we should be striving for. And if we strive for that, I think it's much healthier than when one person's depending on another person too much. So going back to suffering and pain being one of our greatest teachers, listening to the pain is the easy part, but being able to understand what the pain is telling us, that's something different. Okay, that's something I want to talk about in this video. But going back a little bit to what I was saying about over depending on someone and storing information in your head, taking up all this space and all of this. So we get better with time if you're able to maintain your body, maintain your mind. Maintenance is so important. I constantly am looking after my computer, constantly deleting things that are no longer needed. If you're an Apple user, you can repair your permissions. You can go in and do like a first aid, and keep your hard drive healthy, keep your computer healthy. But one of the big things with computers is when you have over 50% of your hard drive full, it starts to slow down. So keeping the hard drive light improves the speed and health of your computer. There's a lot of things that you can do to keep your computer healthy. Keeping it cool is a huge one, so it doesn't overheat. When it overheats, it slows down as well. And it's the same with our body. Our bodies are like a computer is just a fraction of how complex our body and minds are. And our bodies and minds we can look after them way more than we can look after a computer. A computer has a lot of limitations. So of course computers will age and get older. Our bodies and minds, very different. You can constantly be improving your flexibility. That's something that we all can improve. If you look at yourself right now and ask, well, even if you're 60, even if you're 70, even if you're 50 or 40 or 18 or 15, look at your body and say, hey, can I improve my physical body? Of course, there's going to be endless room for improvement. I don't think I've ever met anyone who's in a perfect physical condition or in a perfect mental condition. So the good news is that we're always going to have room for improvement. Always. And why is that a good thing? Because when we improve, we feel better. Whether it's physical improvements, mental improvements, spiritual improvements, I believe the spiritual side is very heavily linked to the mental side, but there is also something a little bit, we're still learning, and there's still a lot that's unexplained. So I do believe spirituality gets its own little category as well. But having that room for improvement is wonderful, because whenever you access that improvement, in other words, whenever you make the improvement, you're going to feel better. And you can pace yourself through life rather than trying to do everything at once and getting to like incredible health, incredible mental wealth or health, suddenly and quickly. I'm not a believer in that, because I think that if you get there too quickly, then you're only going to be going downhill, if that makes any sense. I would rather be, because as we age, of course, there's going to be things that are going to slow down with us. Our bodies, our mind. Of course, part of aging is that we're going to slow down in certain ways. But keep in mind what I was saying earlier, that there's also limitless room for improvement. So if you're clever, what you can do is you can, excuse me, I'm just closing some programs here to make this run faster. So what you can do is, knowing that there's going to be, a gradual, steady slowdown as we're getting older, knowing that, let's say it's going from up here to down here, the slow, steady, slowing down, which is natural for all living creatures. But remembering that, okay, so that clock is sort of like going down this way, but remember that on the other end of the spectrum, down here, all the way to up there is that limitless room for continuous improvement. And I will eventually get a whiteboard or something, but because it's kind of weird doing this. But you can basically figure out that as you're slowing down, you can improve your life. And if you're clever, what you can do is you can keep yourself constantly strong and happy and in a good state by finding those improvements in life and then claiming them, owning them. So, for example, physically, flexibility is something we can all do up until our 80s and 90s. Stretching, yoga, things like that, swimming. Okay, there's a lot. Those are just a few. Sports, so important. And the type of sports we're going to be able to do is, of course, going to change. I do a lot of boxing, Muay Thai, I do mixed martial arts, I do wrestling, I do Jiu-Jitsu. And I love it because it's a wide array of different types of effects on your body. For example, Muay Thai is more brutal. I'm most likely not going to be doing that when I'm in my 50s or 60s. Same with boxing. Boxing, I can probably do that, more than Muay Thai, but still not going to be able to do that in my 50s or 60s. Well, maybe 50s, yes, but maybe not 60s or 70s. But Jiu-Jitsu, I'll be able to do that, I believe, until I'm 70 or 80. There's a lot of grapplers who are still rolling, deep into their 80s, deep into their 90s. I was in a jiu-jitsu competition, very high-level competition when I was in Asia. I flew to the Philippines and I did a tournament there. And there was an older gentleman, and he was in his, I think, 70s, mid-70s. And he was competing at a very high level as a purple belt, I believe. Jiu-jitsu is amazing. I've learned a lot through it. I will make a video about why jiu-jitsu has transformed my life. I've learned so much from it. But jiu-jitsu, through jiu-jitsu and fighting, you're going to learn how to more effectively use what you have. It's not about what you have. It's about how you use what you have. And so it's efficiency, right? How to live in a more efficient way. That's jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu, not just jiu-jitsu, but everything in life. If you look at the samurai bushido culture, and yes, I'm going to be hitting this mic a lot until I get used to it being here. So excuse me if you're hearing knocking and all this stuff. I wonder if I can do like scratching on this. But the Bushido samurai way of life, as far as I'm aware, is that efficiency. You know, I can't remember the name of the art form. Jiu-jitsu originally is Japanese. It comes from Japan. The Brazilians took it and they evolved it. They adapted it. But the Japanese seem to be masters in this efficiency. And if you look at in World War II, they had some of the best technology, some of the best planes, and even today, some of the best cars. You know, the best technology comes from Japan. Most fuel efficient. German engineering is also up there. But it's about efficiency. It's not about what you have. You know, there are people that have no legs, no arms. I've rolled with them. I've trained with them. They're amazing. They have different strengths. It's about learn how to use what you have efficiently. One of the great jiu-jitsu fighters of our day today, Jean-Jacques Machado, I believe is his name pronounced correctly, and he's got a something wrong with his arm, where he can't use his arm. And this is a high-level, well-respected black belt. He's sparked off the school 10th Planet. If anyone out there follows MMA or Jiu-Jitsu, you'll know 10th Planet is really big. Eddie Bravo's coach was Jean-Jacques Machado, and this guy couldn't use one of his arms. Yet, he's a killer, you know? You can't compete with this guy. He's just too good. And he doesn't have one of his arms. So he's managed to learn to use the rest of his body. And that's what the beauty of jiu-jitsu is. I recommend it to all the people that I work with, everyone I speak to, all my clients. One of the first things I say is go check out a jiu-jitsu gym next to you, you know, close to you. Go do a free class. Go just stick your head in, ask them if you can do a free class. You're going to be surrounded by like-minded individuals who have come from all walks of life, who, you know, are going through breakups, divorces, difficulties. Who isn't, right? But the people you're going to meet in this room are people who have decided to be positive, be kind, and to make the most of their time rather than to dwell and, you know, just complain, right? Cheers. This is some kefir. Yeah, I highly recommend kefir. It's really great if you have digestive issues. It's full of millions and millions of healthy strains of bacteria. And the good bacteria keeps your body healthy, keeps your digestive system functioning. They say that, you know, and I believe it, that most of our illness comes from the gut. So if your stomach is not functioning properly, your digestive system is what's responsible for clearing out all the waste of your body. And when waste builds up and stays in your body, it's where disease can come from. So it's important to have a healthy digestive system. Okay, so cheers. Right, so going back to pain being an incredible teacher, I'm going to share with you something from my own personal life. As I said, I believe in continuous growth and improvement. And I believe that I will personally only keep getting better and better with age in time. I'm going to, like jiu-jitsu teachers, learn. And I've put into practice. I can see it. I'm 37. I roll with 18-year-olds. I roll with 16-year-olds. Knock on wood. I still get to have my way with them, and I still have fun, you know, with them as well. Why? Because I've had to learn technique over strength, over endurance, I have to use my mind more, you know, technique, learn to be in positions where you're not burning energy. And that's what fighting is all about. For anyone out there into MMA or fighting, you'll know that how you use your energy is critical in a fight. Your energy, your gas tank is critical. So you're going to see fighters, they use their weight, they use technique, The best high-level fighters, if you watch them, they're not punching using their muscles. They're turning and using weight, using leverage. Weight, leverage, balance, and they're actually not expending as much energy as you think. Yes, of course they are, but they're using energy, but it's not as much as you may think. So to be able to be good at technique, to be able to be good at using leverage, you do require strength, but it's a different type of strength. It's the strength to be able to put your body in the right positions. It's the same with our life. As we grow older and we start aging more, it's important that we strengthen our way of thinking, strengthen our thoughts, strengthen our way of life. You're going to get to a point where suffering is going to start to get too much for you, and you're going to start getting more and more anxiety, more and more depression, and your life is going to become more and more difficult. A lot of people, sadly, just think that's normal. A lot of people think, well, that's just life. A lot of people will just accept being beaten every day into submission by their suffering, by their pain. It's not correct, and that goes back to what I was going to talk about, which is being able to hear and feel the pain, listen to your teacher, which is pain. That's not the hard part. We all can feel the pain very easily, right? But understanding what the pain is trying to tell us, that's the tricky part. And as I'll give you an example with my own life. For the last 7 years, of course, I have grown in a lot of ways, but I've also noticed a decline. There's been some struggle in my life, something difficult. And it's taken me 7 years to figure it out. And I kind of figured it out today, this morning. I woke up and I'm like, I know what's up. And for me, it's this pain and this struggle that's been there. And I've been trying to figure it out. What is it? What's going on? And I'm a perfectionist, and it's not necessarily a good thing. I'll do a video on that someday. But I embrace my perfectionism. And my perfectionism drives me to live, and enjoy my journey, and I don't want any of that pain. So this lingering pain, and it was sort of like, it gets worse and it gets better. It gets worse and it gets better. And I started trying to make a note. When is it getting worse and when is it getting better? And it took me a long time to figure it out. But for many people, they'll never figure these things out, and they'll just continue down that decline and continue feeling this pain, not knowing what's going on. For me, I linked it to my training, my gym. Not a specific gym, just gyms, training at gyms. I realized whenever I head to the gym and train, there's some things about it that are awesome, then there's some things about it that are just creating suffering for me. Interacting with certain people or certain coaches or whatnot, right? Or being in a gym that I don't like the environment. It could be the lighting, it could be the mats, it could be anything. The showers, everything is important. All the details are important. And then this morning, for some reason, it finally hit me that since I was, prior to starting training, my life was on an incredible ascension. When I started training, things started, the ascension continued, but there started to be this suffering and struggle. And I finally figured out that, in 2010, when things started to become difficult, or that struggle, that pain started to emerge that had never been there before, was linked to the gym, to me starting training, I realized that, when I was younger, not younger, but, growing up and all this, I love doing things myself. I'm more of a leader, less of a follower. There's people out there who are great, like to be part of teams and like to follow. And then there's people out there who like to lead and like they're to create. I've always created my own bands. I've never been a part of someone else's band. I've always started my own bands, written all my own music, and brought in people into my world, right? I love creating a world and then bringing people into it. It was the same with my business. I was working for other companies, and I did that for about 7-8 years, working for other companies, working my way up. But I felt the same struggle, the same pain when I was working it, And then I decided, save my money. It was a long story. I'm not going to go into all the details, but then start my own, focus on my own company, my own business. Everything changed. I felt amazing. My own rules. I could work in my amazing, colorful shorts that I've got on right now. All right. The point is, being your own boss is amazing for some people. And I was one of those some people. Anyway, so being part of a gym, going in and all of this, and you got a coach and they're telling you what to do, and they're doing it their way. I found, as a 30-year-old who had already been through a lot in life, accomplished a lot in life, it was great that I was learning all this awesome stuff, but it was a struggle that it wasn't in the setting that was ideal for me. So this morning I woke up and I thought, you know what? When has it been the best times for me when I've been training? Well, I love going to open mats. Open mats is when a gym opens their doors and says, come in for free. There's not going to be a class. You're just going to come in and you're going to roll with everyone. You're going to just warm up for yourself and then just find a partner and just get to it. And that's my favorite thing of all to do. Why? Because I'm free. I'm free to do what I wish to do. It's no longer I'm being told what to do. And okay, so it's one of the reasons maybe we struggle at school or work or unhappy with those situations. We're meant to be more independent. It doesn't mean that you have to quit your job and start your own business, but perhaps finding more independence, more freedom, and expressing that to your coach, to your boss, to whoever it is, your teacher, your parents, whoever it is. When we get to create our own worlds, it's incredibly rewarding, incredibly freeing, and uplifting and energizing. And we feel great. We feel alive, right? So this morning I woke up and I thought, I need to start my own gym. I need to open my own gym, and do things my own way. And that way I'm going to be able to keep my training going and also do it in my own way and invite people into my way of doing, of training. And yes, if I open my gym, it's just going to probably be every day just open mats. Come in and let's roll. And we're all going to learn and improve and strengthen each other. So when I open my gym, I expect you guys to come and roll. Just kidding. So that was an example from my life of how it's taken me 7 years to listen and understand the pain in my life. But above all, trust the pain in your life. Trust it. Don't doubt it. Trust the pain. The pain is there for a reason. Some of you might be wondering, well, I'm going through a breakup right now and I'm in a lot of pain. Does that mean I should be going back to my ex? No, not necessarily. There's going to be situations that can be confusing like that. Breakup is a very unique situation I have found, where it's been the only situation I have found where you have to let go of that hope. In more recent years, I've realized it's not that you're letting go of hope. You're actually embracing hope, but you're embracing the correct type of hope. Our hope shouldn't be hope of me and someone else being happy together. Your hope should rest on with your journey. It comes back to self-love. So embrace and be able to refocus where true hope should be, and true hope should come from within yourself. So don't ever let go of the hope of you being happy with yourself on your own life journey. If you're hoping to be happy with someone else, then it's different. So it's a tricky one to understand, but this is why diving into yourself, examining yourself, understanding yourself is important in life. So trust the pain in your life and understand it. And it takes time, as you can see. For me, it's taken 7 years to figure out what's going on, what's wrong, and why there's this thing that still needs to be ironed out. And we'll all forever be ironing out things, and that's the continuous improvement, and that's the beauty of life, and that's why we all should be incredibly grateful. Excuse me. Kefir is good, but it makes you, So trust the pain in your life. A huge reason for why we suffer and we feel pain is the people who are around us, the environment. I was watching brilliant YouTube channel yesterday. I highly recommend you all to go check it out. I think it's called ASAP Science or something like that, but such an incredible channel. Their videos are very short, 5 or 6 minutes long, and I don't know who these guys are, but it's all scientific. It's all based on scientific research and fact, and they answer amazing questions. So go check it out. And one of the videos I watched yesterday was about the difference between people who are night owls and people who wake up early, and how it's in our genetics that it's been passed down in our genes. Some people prefer to stay up late. Why? Because hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, there were people who would stay up and protect their tribe, and they would stay awake in case predators or other gangs or other tribes would come out. So there were people that would stand there with their spears or their clubs or swords or whatever, and they would stand watch. And they were creatures of the night. And we still exist today. And those people who were raised in those environments are more sensitive, can be more sensitive. And sensitivity is not a bad thing. It means that your senses are more sharpened. Can you imagine standing watch while your tribe is asleep and you're protecting them? You're the protector. Your senses would need to be sharp so that you could hear, like if something was creeping close, or in the night it's so still, and the light isn't so bright, so your senses become more sharpened, which could be a big reason why we have nowadays introverts and extroverts. It's not black and white, it's going to be a mix of both. So don't pigeonhole yourself. I made a comment yesterday. There's someone who's watching these videos and posting annoying, I don't know if you call it a troll or whatever, but I posted a comment to reply that don't pigeonhole yourselves. Look, pigeonhole yourself if you want. It can help some people to think and to know that they are an introvert or an extrovert. I personally am very cautious about that, because I believe it all comes down to your belief, and if you believe you're an introvert and you keep thinking that thought, constant exercising that thought, well then, of course, you're going to go down that path of being an introvert, living an introvert's life. So anyway, it's fascinating, and where we have come from, why we behave the way we do. It all comes back to know yourself. Know yourself, and know what you want, right? All right, everybody. So I hope this reaches you all well on this Friday, and hope you all have an incredible weekend. And if you're suffering for any reason, just try to understand it, pay attention, try to listen to it and understand why, and I promise you, if you stay persistent, another great thing I've learned in fighting is don't give up. Keep at it. Just keep showing up. Eventually you will succeed. But giving up is what most people do right at the beginning. As soon as something difficult arises, they give up, right? Most people, I would say 60% of people give up at the first sign of difficulty. They feel like, oh, no, this isn't for me, or no, this isn't working, or, right? They lose faith. If you speak to wrestlers are probably the best when it comes to not giving up. Try. Keep trying. There's this awesome saying, you're going to fall down 8 times, but get up 9 times, right? So just keep trying, keep persisting, but don't keep doing the same thing over and over again, right? Einstein says, or someone said, the definition of insanity is when you're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So try, and then try. And if it's still failing, well, try in a different way. And then try in a different way. And that way, you're eventually you're testing the weaknesses. It's almost like an army attacking a fort, probing to see where the weaknesses are. If you're going to just keep probing the same spot, it's like banging your head against the wall. But you probe, and then let's try over here. Boom. Until you find a weakness in the wall, and then boom, when you find it, you glide into the next stage. And then you're going to feel amazing, and then boom, you're going to feel again hitting that wall. And then the same thing, and that's growth. That's how we grow. Okay, so I hope this video, the audio is going to be better. I just went on YouTube, figured out what I need to do for the to get the audio in both channels. So hopefully it's going to work. Otherwise, bear with me. For those of you who wear headphones, you're probably going to just hear it in one ear for now. But I'm going to figure it out. And I hope you guys don't mind being able to see my back in these videos too. I got a lot to figure out, but a lot of room for growth, right? So, and that's fun, that's exciting. That keeps us excited, and it keeps life interesting. All right, sending everybody out there all the very best, and adios for now. Have a great weekend. Bye.